Welcome to Old Man Sports Talk. I'm your host, Old Man Nate, and we are back to go over the NBA semifinals, Eastern Conference semifinals, and the Western Conference semifinals, and then give our predictions in the Eastern Conference finals and the Western Conference finals. Before we really get into it, though, if you haven't already, please take the time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every single time Old Man Nate goes live or drops a video. So, on our last show, we did our NBA predictions for the semifinals. Just a recap of that. In the Eastern Conference, you had the Boston Celtics going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I predicted that Boston would win in 5 if Porzingis played and 6 if he didn't play at all. He ended up not playing at all and is not even expected to at least play the first game or 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but Boston still managed to win in 5 games. So I didn't technically get that one right. I did get the winner right, but I didn't get the number of games right just because Porzingis didn't play. So, moving on, we had the New York Knicks against the Indiana Pacers. I predicted the New York Knicks would win in 6 games, and they didn't come through for me. They started off, this was kind of a back and forth series, and New York looked like the better of the team most of the series. However, they let Indiana hang around, and in game 7, Indiana had a career shooting night, and Indiana wins the series in 7 games. So we will have the Boston Celtics against the Indiana Pacers. And so I didn't get the team right or the game. So unlike last year where I got the team right on every one of them, just missed on the game on one series, we didn't, I'm human. I don't get everything right. So moving on to the West, I had picked Oklahoma City, the number 1 seed in the West, to beat Dallas in 5 games, and didn't get that one right either. As Dallas pulled the upset, the 6th seed Dallas, or 5th seed, I'm sorry, 5th seed Dallas beat Oklahoma City in 6 games. So Dallas will move on to the Western Conference Finals. Okay. And before we move on to the last one, I just want to say something, man, about the series. Nobody's really talked about this, but Sam Presti is such a good GM. Not only has he built Oklahoma City into one of the best teams in the league and in the youngest number 1 seed ever in the history of the NBA, but you got to give him credit for building up the Dallas Mavericks too. And I know you're like, what? What are you talking about? Well, so if you watch the series and this it was a weakness for Oklahoma City. I've been saying it before the season was over. I said Oklahoma City needs a big man. They're a big man short. Chet Holmgren, even though he's 7 foot, he's not their big man, and he's not going to play 5 for them. He has to play 5 right now, but they need a true big man. And it killed him. It killed him in that series against Dallas. But here's the even bigger story to that. Last year, Presti drafted a big man, likely, who is with, and then traded him. Then he traded him to the Dallas Mavericks, and he was a key piece in that series win. But that ain't all he did. So at the trade deadline, everybody makes some trades or whatever, and there was a 3-team trade that involved Oklahoma City getting Gordon Hayward and another player who didn't really play much this for him, but Gordon Hayward was the highlight player for them. And guess who? Guess who Dallas got in that trade? PJ Washington and Gafford. Two more key pieces that that helped the Dallas Mavericks beat Oklahoma City. You know, if you go back again, I know it's been a long time in Oklahoma City because that's my team. But listen, go back and watch. Oklahoma City won game one fairly easy, like around 20. But go back and watch games 2 and 3. Luka and Kyrie were kept in check. Both of them, in fact, in game 2, neither one of them scored 20 points. And in game 3, Kyrie scored 20 and Luka had like 9. But you know who was the key to that? Both of those? And by the way, Dallas won both those games. Do you know who was the key in that? PJ Washington. PJ Washington went for 30 on one night and like 27 on the other. So, and then Gafford, his size inside, Oklahoma City was not able to drive and get to the rim. It's because of the size. So, hats off to Dallas Mavericks for stealing the Thunder players and then beating them with them. So, good job. Good job, Dallas. Congratulations. Good luck in the Western Conference Finals, where you will find out now who you're going to play, as I had predicted Minnesota to upset the reigning champions. And I predict them win in 6 games. Well, they won, but it took them 7. Took them 7. Minnesota did win the series, and we will now have a new NBA champion this year as they beat the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. But here's the key on that one. Minnesota beat Denver 3 times in Denver. 3 out of their 4 wins came in Denver. So this is a series where the road team was really kind of dominant. So first 2 games were played in Denver, Minnesota won them. Then they went to Minnesota, and Denver won both of those games. So they go back to Denver with Minnesota, or the series tied. Goes back to Denver. Denver wins game 5. So just needing one of the next 2 games to go to the NBA Finals, and Minnesota gets both of them. I went back to Minnesota and won game 6 and won it convincingly. And then in game 7 was down 20 points in Denver and came all the way back and won. So Minnesota's been through the ringer, but we came out on top. So we're going to have in the Eastern Conference Finals, we're going to have the number 1 seed Boston Celtics against the number 6 seed Indiana Pacers. Boston got to the Eastern Conference Finals by beating Miami and Cleveland, both in 5 games. So Boston's pretty well rested. Indiana got there by beating Milwaukee and New York and had to go 7 games with New York. But Indiana's a team that if you just let them hang around, then they're going to give you a good fight. And if you let them hang around, next thing you know, you're on the canvas. So Boston got to put them away early. Here's some key notes. So okay, so Boston has played in 5 of the last 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Boston has played in 5 of the last 7 Eastern Conference Finals. However, they've only advanced to the NBA Finals 1 time. One of those 7, or one of those 5. Well, actually, so this is counting 1. So it's one of the previous 4. They advanced to the NBA Finals, and that was in 2022, where they end up losing to Milwaukee in the NBA Finals. Indiana, though, this is their first Eastern Conference Finals since 2014. It's been 10 years since Indiana has made it to the conference finals. So congratulations to them. Who do I got advancing to the NBA finals out of the East? I'm going to go with Boston. I think Boston's going to win this in 6 games. So I just think that and Porzingis is projected to come back in this series. He's going to miss. I believe he's going to miss the first 2 for sure, but could see him around game 4 or 5. Okay, so if he comes back and around that time frame, then yeah, I definitely can see them closing out the series. But then again, we'll see what kind of shape he's in. I mean, I know he's exercising. You don't just not do anything. That's part of the recovery part of it is the conditioning. It's not just the injury itself. You got to be in condition to be able to go out there and compete in these types of games. So um, he's probably healthy enough to play right now, and they're probably just getting him in shape, and they think he'll be ready to go probably by game 4, maybe 5. Okay. So again, I got Boston winning in 6 games. Moving on to the West, the number 3 Minnesota Timberwolves against the number 5 seed Dallas Mavericks. Minnesota got there by beating Phoenix and the defending champ Denver, while Dallas got there by beating the Clippers and Oklahoma City. Just by naming names, it sounds to me like Minnesota had a tougher route. Minnesota swept Phoenix and went 7 games with Denver, and then Dallas uh, beat the Clippers in, I believe it was 6, and then went game 6. Went to Oklahoma City. It was game 6 also. So um, not much difference on. I think that what's that about 1 game difference. So as far as total playoff games this series, or yeah, in this these playoffs, but um, another note: Dallas Western Conference Finals. They have been there 2 out of the last 3 years. People don't realize that Dallas. They always get pushed to the side, forgot about, but they have been in the Western Conference Finals 2 out of the last 3 years. And the last time they was there, they got beat by Golden State in 5. The Minnesota, though, this is the first conference finals for them since 2004. It's been 20 years since Minnesota has made it the conference finals. Oklahoma City's actually made it 3 times since since the last time Minnesota made it. And there wasn't even Oklahoma City Thunder. Matter of fact, the last time Minnesota made the conference finals. Wow. Think about that. There was not even the Oklahoma City Thunder the last time that Minnesota made the conference finals. So, what do I think is going to happen? These teams do match up pretty well. The difference is they do both have big men, but how their big men play. Like, for instance, Minnesota's got Cat Williams. He plays outside a lot. That's going to have to pull out um, Gafford or Likely, whoever's guarding him. Okay. They also have Rudy Gobert, who plays down low. So that's an extra big man that they'll have to play also. They may have to play both of them guys. Um, Dallas has Kyrie Irving, which you'll probably see Ant on him a lot. And Luca will probably will be guarded probably by Mike Conley. Mike Conley might guard Kyrie, but Kyrie I think is just too quick, and that's why they'll probably put Ant on him. So, and back to Oklahoma City, I thought Oklahoma City made some mistakes by their matchups too. Spent a lot of time with Dort, even though he did a great job first few games. Luka overcame that at the end. They should have switched up. They didn't. Anyhow, we're done with that. Talking about Dallas and Minnesota. We're going to find out. I mean, Anthony Ant has came out looking like not. He's looking like a young superstar. Okay, he's not looking like um, just an average player anymore. This is his team now. Minnesota is his team, but he's got other key guys that step up when needed too. This is going to be an easier matchup for Rudy Gobert. All right, he don't have to guard the MVP no more. He'll whoever he's guarding, whether it be likely or 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 Gafford. Um, it will be a lot easier than guarding uh, Jokic. So, and then Cat's a guy out there that, I mean, I just think Minnesota probably has one better player. PJ Washington was the key guy though for Dallas in Oklahoma City. I don't think he'll be able to do the same things he did against Oklahoma City. I'm actually picking Minnesota to win this series in 5 games. That's right. So I got Boston winning in 6, Minnesota in 5. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. So if you haven't already, please take the time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every single time Old Man Nate goes live or drops a video. Until then, we'll see you next time right here on Old Man Sports Talk.